What's going on, everybody? It's another game week. It's been a long, long bye week. Oh, it has for the Buffalo Bills and all of us. But tonight we are back with the Saturday night tailgate as usual. I got Mookie Hawkins, sports director of the WUFO Sports Report. Mookie, how are you doing, man? That's it? Nothing to say. Wow. You're normally a man of many words. I'm surprised by this. I'm surprised by this. So, well, I'm going to have to introduce another guest. I'm so happy he gave us his time tonight. Chargers beat reporter for Sports Illustrated, Fernando Ramirez. Fernando, thank you for giving us your time tonight. How you doing, man?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm not just going to give you a thumbs up. Hey, guys, I'm happy to be on here. Thank you for having me. I mean, I think it's been a long couple of days. I mean, you have Thanksgiving, Black Online Friday, and then all these positive COVID tests all over the NFL. I mean, feels like it's been a long couple of days, to be honest. But yeah, no, I mean, we have football going on this weekend, and the matchup is, like I was telling you guys, I mean, I feel like it's a very interesting matchup between two teams, two young quarterbacks. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think a lot of fans are going to love it.
Oh yeah, I think it's going to be it's definitely going to be an exciting game. I believe you have two pretty potent offenses, and you spoke to how long this week kind of has been leading up to this game. And there really has been a lot of news surrounding players that will or will not be available going into this game. And probably the biggest piece of information that goes in the Chargers' favor was running back Austin Ekeler being activated from injured reserve to make him eligible to play against Buffalo tomorrow. Can you please kind of like shed some light as to how that could drastically impact how this Chargers offense will match up against this Bills defense?
Well, Clayton, I mean, there's positives and there's negatives. The positive was Austin Ekeler, but here goes the negative. No Melvin Ingram for this weekend, but obviously you're talking about the offense. Austin Ekeler's a dynamic player. He's been it since – I remember watching him in training camp a couple of years ago, and, I mean, he only had a number 3 jersey. And you're kind of looking at him and you're like, oh, wow, he's making plays. I mean, you just never know if it's real or not because they're just playing against their teammates. Then they go into preseason games and you start noticing a couple of things. You're like, oh, okay, that final preseason game. That's why when some guys say, we don't need 4 preseason games, the 4th preseason game is what got Austin Ekeler noticed against the San Francisco 49ers. Ends up making the team. He's been a dynamic player. This offseason was very telling. The Chargers had both him and Melvin Gordon coming off the books. Melvin Gordon, a former first-round draft pick, they end up letting him go to Denver, and they end up keeping Austin Ekeler. And here you go, attaboy, 4 years, $25 million extension for all the work that he had done. Austin's been a huge part of this offense since he came in. He's very dynamic, running the ball, but receiving the ball, he's also been very good. He's very explosive. He brings a lot of different things to the Chargers offense. I was looking up some stats yesterday, and without him, they're only running the ball 2.8 yards per attempt. That's not good. That's not what Anthony Lynn wants. Anthony Lynn's a former running back coach. He doesn't want that coming out from his offense. He wants them running the ball. Ekeler, I think, is averaging right now about 6 yards a carry, and he's only played in 3 games, to be fair, but still, he was running the ball very well before he went out with this injury. He was starting to develop chemistry with Justin Herbert. It's funny because you think, Justin Herbert got thrown in there against the Kansas City Chiefs week 2, and he develops quick chemistry with Keenan Allen, with Mike Williams. So I don't, from that aspect, I don't think he'll have a hard time getting caught up with Justin Herbert. I feel like him and Ekeler will be fine when it comes to tomorrow. But Ekeler just adds a different dynamic that this team has been missing, especially with Brian Bulaga and Trey Turner now back. This Chargers offense is getting a little bit healthy. It could be a little too late for the rest of the season. But hey, I mean, at least they add it because they're gonna have all of those guys next year as well. So they're gonna need to start building that chemistry up for going into next year. So honestly, having Ekeler back is huge for this Chargers offense and this team in general.
Fernando, just to clarify with Austin Ekeler now, he's coming off what? He had an LCL or MCL?
No, a hamstring injury.
He was
running towards the sideline. It looked different. I thought it was going to be. I thought it was a lot worse. He gets yanked down by I think it was a corner or a safety, and I thought his leg had gotten caught underneath him, and I thought it was something like you just mentioned, Mookie, and no, it wasn't. It was a hamstring injury. He's been out, but it's funny because he's been teasing a lot. You know how wrestlers sometimes in WWE tease, "Oh, we're coming back. We're almost back. We're almost back." Austin's been pulling a little WWE on everybody. He's been on Twitch. He said, "Hey, I might be back. I might be back this week." He's been posting videos of him lifting weights, running full speed. So little by little, he's been teasing fans that he's coming back. And I mean, today he was activated. So that's, like I said, fans were excited. And the funniest part is he puts, "Fantasy owners, don't drop me yet. We're in this for the long haul. I got you guys." So you can tell Austin knows exactly that the fan base loves him, but fantasy owners love him as well.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, he is definitely a very productive back, and he's not one-dimensional. He adds an element to both the passing attack and the rushing attack for the Chargers, and it's going to be interesting to see how the Bills choose to defend him because adding him to the offense adds another dynamic to that offense and what they can do with the football. But another player that you alluded to at the beginning of your point that was placed on IR, Melvin Ingram. How do you think that could really impact this Chargers defense facing a quarterback like Josh Allen? Because I know on my podcast, on the Overtime podcast, previewing the show, I thought what will impact the Bills offense the most is having both Melvin Ingram and Joey Bosa available for this game, is being able to collapse the pocket on Josh Allen, not necessarily force him to make throws from the pocket, but bring pressure in his face. How do you think it's going to impact the look of this athletic Chargers defense now with Melvin Ingram not playing this weekend?
Well, the thing is, Clayton, is that Melvin Ingram brings the athleticism while Joey Bosa brings the strength. They're kind of they say that they're the best, one of the best, if not the best tandem in the NFL when it comes to rushing the quarterback. In years past, they were. Both of them were double-digit sack guys. This year, it has not been like that for either one of those guys. Bosa's at 4.5, but it's funny because when you talk to different teams, and I remember Josh Allen said this on Wednesday, we're going to try and gas them and do quick passes to tire these guys out. The thing is that these guys are exerting a lot of energy. And in the first half of the Carolina Panthers game in week 3, that's exactly what they were doing, is they were going with quick passes. Patrick Mahomes, week 2, same thing, quick passes. So it seems like that's the way, and that's how, to an extent, that's how Tom Brady got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back into that game in week 4, and so did Drew Brees. Those short passes, they were beating the Chargers like that. First half, they were trying to do long ball. They were trying to do different things. But no, in the second half, they were going short passes, gassing that off that defensive line. And it was working. And, I mean, Joey Bosa, I mean, obviously out of the two, Joey Bosa is the better pass rusher. He's the Pro Bowl guy. He's the guy that got paid as the highest defensive end in the game. But the thing is that both of them work hand in hand with each other. So if you don't have one, the other one is going to see a lot more. And I've noticed it this year. Joey Bosa's been getting double, triple teams. Sometimes they even throw the tight end, the running back, and the guard and the right tackle at him, just because that's how hectic Joey Bosa is. So it'll definitely be very interesting to see how they're able to attack it. I mean, we talked to Anthony Lynn on Friday, and I asked him, I'm like, Anthony, what are you guys going to do when it comes to the other defensive end? Because they don't have Uchenna Nwosu either. Right. So you don't have your primary Leo, and you don't have your backup Leo. So what are you going to do to replace that? And he said, hey, we're going to use Jerry Tillery. Jerry Tillery is our first round draft pick from last year. He struggled at defensive tackle. It seems like, especially this year, when they give him limited snaps, he does better. Not when they have him play the whole game and everything like that. So it seems like in a more limited role. At defensive end, he's been playing there since training camp, and he's actually, surprisingly enough, he's done better at defensive end, in my opinion, than he has a defensive tackle. So I think they're going to throw him in there. He said Emike Ebuye, he's a 6th round draft pick from last year also, I believe. They're going to add him. They're going to throw him in there. I think they're going to throw a couple of wrinkles at the Buffalo Bills that maybe they haven't seen. But I don't know how you make up for Melvin Ingram not being there. I know Melvin Ingram doesn't have the stats, but he has 0 sacks this year. But he was still hurrying the quarterback. He was getting to the quarterback. He was hitting the quarterback. And the Chargers are really going to miss that on Sunday against the Bills.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like, when you losing a guy like that, just the instincts of, having a Melvin Ingram around, and he's solid when setting the edge in the run game as well. Something that, he don't get a lot of credit for. He definitely set that edge in that run game. That's what he brings to the table. White Bosha, he pretty much rushes the quarterback on third down, but, he's more than capable as well. But you miss that athleticism that he does bring in, play and play out, you know what I mean? So, hey, we're kind of happy that he's not suiting up. But on our end of the spectrum, no John Brown. You know what I mean? I know Clay, want to talk about Cody Ford as well going on the IR. So, it's a lot of pros and cons. But the whole thing about it is these two young gun quarterbacks, you know what I mean? Basically, when you look at all the statistics and ratings, they're basically number one and number two right behind each other. When it comes down to, Josh Allen, he's number two in completions. He's first in passing yards, two in quarterback rating, first in completion percentage, three in interception percentage. Isn't that about something? They want to talk about the improvements of Josh Allen, but, they will get into that. But, man.
The Chargers have seen it. Oh, my bad. Sorry for interrupting. The Chargers have seen it. I mean, they faced him his first game. Uh-huh. They faced him the first time he started an NFL game, and they've seen the development from him. And they know that he's not only. I mean, back then he was an athletic quarterback. I remember athletic quarterback with a strong arm, but his accuracy was off. That is long. That's why I wrote this week. That is long gone. That is not the Josh Allen that these guys are facing this week, especially with a guy like Stephon Diggs, who all you heard in the offseason was, oh, he's selfish. Oh, he's all about himself. Well, heck, I want to be selfish and all about myself too if I'm playing the way he is. I mean, he's playing so well. Him and Josh Allen have developed such good chemistry with each other that it's honestly incredible the way they've been playing against each other. But no, the Chargers definitely know that what Josh Allen can do. They know that he has designed quarterback runs, and they said we have to be on the lookout for everything that he's going to throw at us. And you mentioned no John Brown this week. Hey, we'll throw another one at you. No Casey Hayward for the Chargers this weekend as well. So if you want to throw something out there, the Chargers will match that one with a player themselves. So it's one of those things that you're just like, oh wow, like you don't want to jinx it and ask what else can go wrong, but hey, it's like these guys are trying to go out there and prove what other players can go down. But it's one of those things where you really look at it and you're like, okay, the Chargers have all these injuries, but they're still in all these games, and I think that's what the most frustrating part is for the team, is that they're in all these games, but they just cannot finish them. And that's been their problem the whole season. They're in these games, they're blowing some teams out, and they just can't finish games. Against the Las Vegas Raiders, they're down the whole game. They come back from behind, and they almost beat the Raiders, and two fade routes, and they end up not being able to finish off that game. So they've been in it. They've been in it against playoff contenders. They've been in it against terrible teams. They've been in every single game. It's just a matter of who wants it at the end, and unfortunately for them, it's been the other team that's wanted it, and they just haven't been able to take advantage of it.
You touched on Chris Harris coming back. I understand he was brought back from injured reserve this past week, and Casey Hayward is out for this game. How is Chris Harris's health right now? I forget what his injury was. But how is he right now? Is he 100%, or is this kind of one of those situations where they're trying to get him back so they can really kind of find out what they got with Chris Harris, who was, if I recall correctly, he was the acquisition this past offseason?
Yes, he was. He was an ankle injury. I've heard multiple things. One thing was Lynn told us a couple of weeks ago that he had a broken bone in his foot. So that's why it took him a while to come back. Chris has been advocating on Twitter next week, and he said last week he thought he was going to come back last week, but they ended up waiting until this week to bring him back. Josina Anderson tweeted out in the morning that she heard that Chris was activated to the 53-man roster, but they're going to wait to see if he can go, if he can't. I expect him to go. I think Chris Harris Jr. is a tough guy. He's always been that tough guy that will play through anything when his team needs him, and the Chargers right now need him. They have Brandon Faison. Faison hasn't been that good. He's an undrafted free agent that they acquired a couple of years ago. They have Tavon Campbell. He's had his ups and downs. He had a pick six last week against Joe Flacco. That really jump-started the Chargers in the game. And then you look at Michael Davis. He's a undrafted free agent from BYU. He fits that Gus Bradley system. He's 6'2", 3, very long, very fast. So he fits that system. He's been the better corner out of the two this year when it comes to Casey Hayward and him. Casey Hayward has been struggling this season. He last week against Brashad Perryman, he allowed a 49-yard touchdown. Then in Denzel Mims, he allowed another 25-yarder to keep a drive alive. So it's been Casey struggled a little bit this year, but Michael Davis has been good. He's a free agent after this year. But Chris Harris, it sounds from when we talked to Anthony that Anthony said on Friday, we'll see how they do, but they activated him. I don't think you activate a player and him not play. So I'm sure Chris will go out there. He'll try his best. And I just don't know. I don't know what way the Chargers are going to take this. If they're going to go Chris, Shadows, Cole Beasley, and then Michael Davis takes on Stephon Diggs. But it's going to be a tough task for either one of them to go up against those two receivers because they're, like you guys said, the Bills are coming off their bye week, and it's going to be a tough matchup for these guys who haven't had a bye week since week 5, and guys are coming in and out of the lineup due to injury. So it's definitely going to be very interesting to see the matchup.
Right, but let's talk about the bright spot of the Chargers, man. Let's talk about Justin Herbert and getting that chemistry with Keenan Allen, man. What, 19 targets, 16 catches, 3 touchdowns? I mean, damn. I mean, everybody knew pretty much he was throwing the ball to Keenan Allen. You just couldn't stop Keenan Allen. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm quite sure Keenan Allen loved all of that last week. So, man, that's going to be a challenge for our back end with Trey White and company. So, care to talk about how red hot, Justin Herbert's been, along with Allen and company.
Yeah, no. Keenan, it's funny because before the Keenan's been saying this for a while. I'm the most disrespected receiver in the league. I'm the most underrated. I'm the most this year, for some reason, he went at Chris Godwin and he went at Mike Evans and he said, I'm better than both of them. And I mean, stats kind of don't lie at that point. Statistically, he's done better than both of them this season, but he's been out to prove that he's one of the better receivers that's not talked about. The Chargers think that he is one of the best receivers in the league. They gave him a big contract in the offseason, so they believe in him, and he's been rewarding them. He's on pace for another 100-yard, another 1,000-yard season, 100 reception season. Mm-hmm. So it's been very interesting to see the way Keenan and Justin have developed their chemistry. It's been a slow thing where it's been working. They've been working themselves up, and lately it's just been one of those things where Justin knows exactly where Keenan's going to be, and he makes that throw. I don't know if you guys saw that touchdown throw in the second half where he rolls out to the left. The corner's facing Keenan, and he just throws a bullet in there, and Keenan catches it, and Keenan goes, "It was hot." So we were just laughing at because Keenan said that thing, and then I think Hunter said that when he saw it, he could hear it, so that he went, "Wow!" Like, okay, that was a crazy throw. So yeah, no, I think everything this year about Justin Herbert has been very surprising to a lot of people, just because it's been surprising to us because in preseason in training camp. We barely got to see a lot of him. We saw a lot of him with the 2s and the 3s. We saw him once with the 1s, and Melvin Ingram on the first play picked him off and walked it into the end zone for a pick 6. Yeah. It was seen on Hard Knocks. And some of us were kind of looking and we're like, could this kid be the real deal? But it seems like this kid learns by getting thrown in there. Kind of like me in school. You get thrown into the fire and you better learn. So It seems like that's how this kid learns. He's been learning as he goes. He's been picking up the offense. Hunter Henry told us this week that Justin's been making a lot of changes to the offense, that they go in there with a play and that he changes the offense at the line when he sees the way the defense is lined up and everything. So for a rookie quarterback to really be doing that, that's pretty amazing. But yeah, no, like you said, the development with Keenan Allen has been great. Keenan's been posting huge numbers this year. It's just they're 3-7. That's been the only negative on this team. That's been the biggest negative on this team. But when it comes to production, the production's there on offense. These guys he has over, I think he has about 800 yards. Mike Williams has 500, and Hunter Henry's close to 500. So, the production's been there. The points have been there. It's just the little things. And that's what Anthony Lynn's been talking about. That's what offensive coordinator Shane Steichen's talked about. It's the little things that they're missing that they need to improve on. And that's what I've asked them, like, can you improve that during the season? And they say, yes. but they've still made the same mistakes. So it's one of those. And you asked them, can you guys develop a killer instinct? Justin Herbert said, yes, we can. I asked Keenan. Keenan said, yeah, we can, but they just haven't been able to develop it yet this season. But no, yeah, it's been impressive. I've been impressed with Keenan. I've been impressed with Justin Herbert. It's funny because I go back to 2013, 14. I remember watching Keenan on training camp, and you're like, this kid could be special. And you see him now, and you're like, wow, like this guy has really come a long way from Mike McCoy not wanting to play him week 1 of his rookie year to now being a Pro Bowl player that has really taken the NFL by storm. And I feel like he could have a big game on Sunday.
Oh, yeah. Let's not forget the last time Keenan Allen played the Bills, he retired Vontae Davis at halftime.
See, I didn't want to say that because I remember that was a huge story talked about. But yeah, no, it was. And then I remember they try and put him on Mike Williams, and Mike Williams catches his first career touchdown over Vontae, and Vontae just wasn't having any of it.
I'm done. Yeah, it's over.
Peace. So for that game, do they give him half of a check or half of his game check, or
I think actually he waited until all of his guarantees were up. He had all of his guarantees after the second week.
I just think of that meme, the meme where the guy just goes like that, pointing at his head. Smart guy.
That's exactly what it was. And at halftime, he was like, "Yep, this is a young man's game."
Yeah.
So but anyways, you were really touching on Keenan Allen and how he really is one of the most underrated receivers in the league, and that's kind of a dispute I got into a couple weeks ago because we were talking. The conversation was who's the best wide receiver in the AFC, and in my opinion, it's between Stephon Diggs and Keenan Allen. That's really who it's between. And I think a lot of people, I was startled. I had to take myself back for a second because I almost forgot about Keenan Allen, and how could I? Because this is a guy who's versatile. He can play on the inside, he can play along the boundary, and he's productive wherever you put him in an offense, and however you ask him to contribute, he will. How do you think the Chargers are going to use him against the Bills? Because I'm interested to see what the Bills are going to do to defend Keenan Allen, whether they're going to have Trey White shadow him and follow him wherever he goes, whether he's along the boundary or in the slot, or if they're going to have Teron Johnson covering him in the slot. And I don't know if you know this, but Teron Johnson has struggled mightily this season, the Bills' nickel corner. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Chargers do to utilize Keenan Allen and what the Bills use to try and defend him. I'm wondering what you think they might try and do to get him in those positive situations.
Well, I think him and Devontae Adams have the most touchdowns this season by a slot receiver. So I mean, those two guys are up there, and like you said, Keenan believes that he is the best receiver, not only in the AFC but in the league. But yeah, no, definitely he's underrated, underlooked, overlooked. And I believe that Keenan Allen, and this is just my opinion from watching him, he's the best receiver to come out of his break. His footwork is just incredible. The way he's able to shift. I don't know if you guys remember the AFC divisional game against the Patriots a couple of years ago against Stephon Gilmore. And you guys are familiar with Stephon Gilmore, one of the best corners in the game. Keenan comes up, he shifts his hips like he's going to turn right or left. And Stephon Gilmore goes right with him, and Keenan shifts his legs back up and heads straight into the end zone for, like, I think it was a 56-yard touchdown. So, I mean, it's just one of those things where you're like, oh, wow, like this guy really is one of the better route runners. He's so smooth. That's what he works on in the offseason. He uploads a lot of videos on Instagram showing people why he's one of the better route runners in the league. But definitely there have been some different ways that people try and cover him. I remember a couple of years ago against the Steelers. The Chargers beat the Steelers on Sunday Night Football. It was the 2008 year where the Chargers were 12-4. And they were they were putting a linebacker on him in the slot. And Keenan had like 15 catches in that game. And I'm like, dude, why do you keep on putting a linebacker against him? Like, put one of your corners on him. Like, I was even getting like, dude, come on. Like, you got to do something, change it up. But no, definitely, I would say that Tre'Davious White should be on him. That would be the best move that maybe they could do, because if you guys are saying that a slot corner is if a slot corner is struggling, Keenan's gonna find his weakness and he's gonna take him to school. Last week he had a move where he comes inside, and last week he was playing against rookie corners, and those corners were kind of struggling at times with him. Keenan looked like he was doing a slant, shifts his body, turns it completely around, and does an out route, catches the ball and turns it up for 15 yards. So I mean, he just does different things to really use his body, use his footwork, and he will eat you for. I put in my article last week that I thought Keenan was gonna have a free pre-Thanksgiving feast, and he did against the Jets. So I mean, honestly, if they don't, and I trust that, I think the Bills have done a great job this year when it comes to covering certain receivers. But Keenan is just one of those guys that lines up at different places on the field. So I mean, if they don't defend him the way that and give him the attention that he needs to have on him, he's going to cook him up all game, especially the way he plays the game.
Yeah, he's definitely. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe because of the knock on him coming out of college was his speed. Was a 4.6 he ran, and that's just been...
Well, he thinks it's that, and it's also that the team just hasn't been playing well. And you look at Devontae Adams, where's he been? NFC Championship. Though that the Packers are always competing. Minnesota was in the playoffs consistently the last few years, so Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs were talked about a lot. So it usually, if you don't win, you don't get the recognition. So I think that, in my opinion, that's one of the things that is rarely talked about is Keenan Allen, because the Chargers have been struggling to win. They win two straight seasons, they lose two. They win 2 straight seasons, they lose 2. So when you have so much up and down when it comes to the record, I mean, teams aren't going to notice you because your team is struggling.
Right. And earlier you were touching on the production from the resurgence of, well, at least in my opinion, the resurgence of Hunter Henry, who dealt with injuries for multiple seasons in the past leading up to this year. And now this year he's found a way to stay healthy. He's found a way to be a productive contributing factor of the Chargers offense. I'm really interested to see what the Bills are going to do to try and defend both Austin Eckler and Hunter Henry, given the fact that Matt Milano is not going to be back for this game. So it's going to be very interesting to see how these two players are really going to be worked into the Chargers offense, where I think they could potentially have a mismatch going up against the Bills.
Yeah, no, definitely. The way the Chargers have been using Hunter Henry has been they like to use him in third down. Like, no, they use him all around. They move him all over the field. That's the thing about the Chargers offense. They like shifting their guys all over the field. They like putting them on different spots where they can succeed. But where Justin Herbert really looks at him is in 3rd and 5, to 2nd and 6 in those short yardage situations to kind of get that first down. The way the Chargers kind of used Antonio Gates at the end of his career for that short yard gain, move the chains, stuff like that. Hunter can do everything for the Chargers. I've just been very interested that the Chargers haven't used him in the way that the Chiefs use Travis Kelce. I've been wanting them to use him a lot more, like on different routes, try and do different things with him. And it seems like the Chargers haven't really done all that much with him. Have him do out routes, different things like that. But I mean, that's why they're the coaches and I'm not. But definitely it will be interesting to see the way they use Hunter Henry tomorrow. And like you said, Austin Eckler and Hunter Henry and Mike Williams is sometimes he's the guy that the odd man left out, but he's a guy that can also hurt a defense. It's funny because he was talking about it yesterday. Well, I asked him about it yesterday. And I asked him, Mike, what do you think about going back to Buffalo? And he's like, Buffalo has a special place in my heart. He's like, that's where I caught my first NFL touchdown. Because his rookie year, he struggled. His rookie year, people were saying we're using the B word, bust, this, that. Then he comes in his second year and he starts making incredible touchdown grabs. And people were like, oh, wow, okay, Mike Williams might be a player. So the Chargers, I mean, and that's been one of those things where they've struggled. They have the weapons. It's just at times they struggle to put the whole out. The offensive creativity isn't there. So that's kind of where they get themselves in trouble at times.
Absolutely. And you kind of mentioned that, he has a fond place of catching his first touchdown. But another guy who's fond of this place, Coach Lynn, what advantages did he speak of coming back here to Buffalo playing, some of the things that he's familiar with, within that stadium, that he's planning to use to his advantage?
Well, I mean, Coach Lynn really doesn't like to talk about that kind of stuff just because he's kind of like, okay, I want to focus on the game. Like, there's no advantage really because, I mean, the crowd isn't going to be there. So, I mean, and that's honestly, I love Buffalo because they have some of the craziest fans. And like I said, I don't know if I've mentioned this, but I'm a huge wrestling fan. So seeing fans breaking tables and doing all kinds of stuff off of their trailers, that is so much fun to me. on Sunday. I enjoy watching those videos from different websites that have those. So honestly, it's fun for me. I think Bills fans are some of the best. But yeah, no, I mean, there's not really something that they could really take advantage of just because the fans is. I remember when they were there in 2018, the fans were very loud. They were very loud. They were making a lot of noise, and I remember Phillip Rivers at the time had to jump out of different formations. I had to change up his snap count. He even had to go to a silent count at one point because it was so loud in that stadium. So I feel like that's the only advantage that the Chargers really have going into tomorrow is that it's going to be another silent stadium, and only them kind of talking and chatting and stuff like that. So, but yeah, no, Anthony said he loved his time in Buffalo. He said that he remembers fondly all the memories that he had over there, and that it's always going to have he took the Mike Williams approach, and he said it'll always have a special place in his heart as well. So Mike and Anthony both say that Buffalo is a great place. So, and there you go. You have me vouching for them just because of the fans and the way they approach game days.
Well, Fernando, I appreciate you giving us your time. Are you allowed? I'm not sure what your obligations are on game day in regards to predictions and what have you. Are you allowed to give a prediction on this show?
Yeah. I already gave my prediction today on si.com. So yeah, no, I can definitely. I think I said 31. Sorry, 31-24. I believe I said the game, but looking at all the injuries on defense, I may have to bump up that score to 38-31. You know what? I'll give you guys a new one. I'll say 38-31 Bills.
Oh, okay. He's picking the Bills.
Yeah, no. I think that the Bills are right where they want. Tua Tagovailoa is struggling with Miami. Miami was looking like a powerhouse. It's funny how quickly the NFL changes. A couple of weeks ago, Miami was looking like a powerhouse. They were looking like they could take the AFC East from Buffalo, and now Miami's starting to struggle. Fitzmagic is starting tomorrow. So it looks like Buffalo has something to play for. They have playoff seeding on the line. So I'm pretty sure Buffalo is going to play like their hair's on fire, and they're going to come out of here with that victory.
Absolutely. Yeah. You had it 31-27 on your article. So okay. 31-27, but we love the 38-31. We love that.
Hey, what I saw from them against the Cardinals just astounded me. That's not talked about as a game of the year candidate, nothing like that. That was a really good game. That was just one of those games, like JR from WWE says, a slobber knocker. It was one of those. So I expect this one to be a slobber knocker, back and forth. So, and I remember in the draft process, a lot of people were comparing Justin Herbert to Josh Allen. Athleticism, big arm, everything. So this is gonna be a fun matchup between two young quarterbacks that have big arms. So, and Chargers or Justin Herbert's had a couple of 50-yard touchdown passes this year. They've both been slinging the ball very well. So I could see a couple of 50-yard bombs going down tomorrow in Buffalo with both of these quarterbacks slinging it down the field.
It definitely would be really interesting. I think this is going to be an exciting game, no matter how it goes, whether the Bills win, whether the Chargers win. But, Fernando, I want to thank you for all the insight you provided on the show tonight. I want to thank you for giving us your time. Please tell the people where they can find you and what they have to look forward to when they do.
Oh, well, I'm both Twitter and Instagram. I'm at Real F Ramirez. A lot of Chargers content. I mean, this year's been kind of weird just because we don't get a locker room presence in the back. So some of the videos that I posted on Instagram we don't have video or interview video anymore. So some of those fun ones that I got to see that you can see throughout the years is on my Instagram. On Twitter, I mean, I try and have fun with my stories, with the stories that I post. This week we asked Justin Herbert. He had a victory brisket Monday. Him and his roommates had they put together a brisket, and we asked him, "Is that your first time?" He's like, "Yeah, that's my first time ever cooking." And I'm like, "How was it?" He's like, "Surprisingly, it was very good." So just always try and have fun with the stories that I do. So yeah, whatever fans want to catch up on this week before the game tomorrow, I have great stuff from the team this week.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you giving us your time, big dog. And Enjoy the game, man. I wish I could see you. I wish I could see you tomorrow. In the
box, it's a shame. It's a shame, but hey, sending you guys my love from San Diego, and again, thank you for having me on. And it's honestly been fun. So good luck tomorrow, and yeah, it should be a fun one.
Yeah, stay safe and enjoy your evening, man.
You too. Thank you. Have a good night.
Yep. Take care. Mookie.
All right, man. My man, those are some good Chargers in sight.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Another gunfight at the OK Corral tomorrow. You know what I mean? So I have to see. Maybe Josh might go for his 500. I keep playing around with it.
Go 500. 500.
He throw for 500 tomorrow. And that could just be a bold prediction right now, right?
He's missing one of his receivers, Mookie.
That's even better. That's make it even more bolder, right? That's making it even more bolder.
I don't know. I wouldn't say it, but if you want to put yourself on a limb, if you want to bet a bucket of wings on it, maybe. Maybe. I'll think about it. But you alluded to it earlier in the show, and while we had Fernando on, I wanted to have far more Charger-centric talking discussion. I want to know how you think not having John Brown on this team for the next 3 weeks is really going to impact them, because you're talking about the Chargers matchup, you're talking about the 49ers matchup, and then the Steelers. So how do you think not having the number 2 wide receiver available to this offense is going to affect this team?
Oh, it's definitely going to impact the offense. I mean, when you look at it, this team really goes how John Brown goes. I mean, Cole Beasley has picked up the slack, and in the event of our tight end being dismal, and John Brown going through those injuries, Steph Diggs has been Steph Diggs. We knew that he's going to be targeted 10 plus times a game. We already knew that coming into training camp. But who else was going to be the one that decided not to have the numbers drop off? Actually, nobody's numbers has dropped off. John Brown's numbers dropped off because he's been dealing with the injuries. So it's going to be significant, for him being out there, because he's the guy that really stretches the defense. When teams are playing bracket coverage on Stephon Diggs or double him over the top, having a healthy Brown, Beasley, and Diggs out there still creates a problem when teams want to go to that two-man coverage shell. With John Brown out there, it still poses a problem because he runs routes so well and he's so quick, And then at the end of the day, the audible, you know what I mean? He knows what to do. That play recognition, things of that nature. Everybody don't have that. So yeah, he's going to be definitely missed for those 3 weeks. But hey, next man up. Gabe Davis needs to emerge right here, and hopefully he gets the opportunity to do that. So I would start, just to get Gabe Davis involved, man, just target him right off in the beginning of the game. You know what I mean? Just to get him going, because we're going to need him for these next 3 games. They did activate Kumaro. Isaiah Hodgins is, he's starting to, get back in the sauce, slowly but surely. So, we just have to wait and see. But, John Brown, that role is definitely going to have to be done by a committee. If Gabe Davis is up for the task, Coach Dable should definitely have some good play design to get him acclimated for the next 3 weeks.
Now, do you think they potentially place a waiver claim for Kenny Stills?
I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so. I don't think so. The Bills, more or less, they'll wait. They'll wait for Hoskins, and try to go with Kenny Stills. You still got John Brown. Why would you think they would go for Stills?
Oh, no. I just, that's been discussed on Twitter amongst many people. So I like clarifying things and getting points out of the way when we're talking about an overall talking point, that being the Bills' number 2 wide receiver. I tend to agree with you. I don't think they should or they will put a waiver claim in for Kenny Stills, simply because this is a golden opportunity to really find out what they have with Gabe Davis. I understand he has shown us a lot of potential thus far to this point in the season. And, we're about in that spot of the year, week 12, 11, 10, where these rookies, they start to hit a wall. And the good news is for Gabe Davis and the situation that he was drafted into is he wasn't relied upon since day one. We've loved what he sprinkled into the offense when he's used here and there in a limited capacity because, well, hey, He's gotten to be able to sit behind the scenes behind these three great wide receivers, learn this offense, get acclimated. And when he's been called upon in those situations, when John Brown is unavailable, he tends to disappear. And that's something that concerns me going forward for these next 3 games. Now, is it detrimental to this Bills offense? I don't think so, because you have 2 running backs back there that are as fresh as can be for this playoff run that you hope to go on. And that's really where I see the opportunity here for the Bills not having their number 2 wide receiver. I think this opens the door for the rushing attack to get acclimated this season. I think this is the cultivation of the Bills rushing attack finding their footing, not pun not intended, but finding their footing and really taking off with it. We haven't seen the Bills be reliant on that rushing attack all but 1 game this year. They have really, aired it out, spread this offense out. And now that you don't have your number 2 wide receiver, we've all seen what this Bills offense is without having John Brown on the field. We all know it is nowhere near as efficient with the ball in the air when you don't have John Brown on the field. And I think an opportunity going up against the I can't believe I did that. The Los Angeles Chargers, where they don't have their best pass rusher. Well, you can't really say their best pass rusher. They don't have Melvin Ingram, and they have relatively smaller linebackers. And they also don't have their leading tackler because Kaiser White's going to be out of this game. So you definitely have an opportunity to really kind of big boy a smaller, more athletic defense and kind of wear them down. And, like Fernando said, Josh Allen touched on how they could possibly tire out Joey Bosa, how they could possibly tire out Melvin Ingram if they were expecting him to play in this game. That is with a short passing game. And, offenses tend to use that passing game as an extension of their rushing attack. And not only do I expect this Bills offense to use a quick passing game to tire out this Chargers defense, I also expect them to use Zach Moss and Devin Singletary plenty in this game to not only get their passing attack on under wraps, but also tire out that all-star pass rusher they have, even though they don't have Melvin Ingram.
Absolutely. Hopefully we get to see 20 personnel real early and often tomorrow. I mean, Josh is off the the IR list, so I want to see 20 personnel now. I mean, I saw it back in the scrimmage, and we very seldomly saw it during the course of the season. Probably 1 or 2 possessions here or there, but I want to see that be the emphasis coming out, getting those guys going. I don't care, we fake that run to him or hit that swing pass to Devin Singletary, but have those guys out there at the same time to pose a threat to your offense, especially when you're not getting any production from the tight ends position. So you got to be able to create mismatches and with that set right in there, you got Gabe Davis, you got Cole Beasley, you got Steph Diggs with Motor and Moss. Like you said, they got the elite tackle out. You're missing a guy like Ingram out there. You're missing Hayward, even though they do got some young undrafted corners that's solid. But at the end of the day, it's going to be problems when you bring those 5 guys out, especially when your quarterback is, can extend plays with his legs as well. So I would love to see that 20 personnel be the emphasis of a little bit of that run structure around. Because, I mean, you got to get the run game going. We're heading into December. You got to have some sort of balance. And if they don't get that balance, then guess what? Their teams are just going to back off. And then when Bills get in a run formation, they're going to be too predictable. And teams are just going to sell out on a run. And, you're not going anywhere. You're just going to be 3rd and longs. Teams only going to play that cover 2, that shell underneath. And, it's going to be dog fights every week. You know what I mean? But, the Bills are seeing enough of that now where it shouldn't be an excuse at this point. As far as I'm concerned. They should have some sort of answer for that when teams get into that. So that's what I want to see what this bye completely brings. You didn't see all the tape when teams are sending 3 guys or 4 guys and they got 8 to 7 guys back. You didn't see countless tapes on week. You didn't see weeks of tape on that on your bye week. So I want to see what he has strategically set. What has he designed creatively when teams go to that? You know what I mean? I try to throw things out there, quarterback draws, delays with the running back. I don't want to say hey, I'm the one he's listening to and they actually doing it, but hey, I actually see that out there on the field. So keep doing that. Let's see some screens. Like teams want to send a house. Let's bring these screens out. I didn't seen them happen in practice. We don't see them in games enough. All right. So they got the plays. He got to dial it up. he got to dial it up. If he dial it up correctly, then the Bills should, it shouldn't be a defense that could be able to stop them because they have all the answers by then.
Another injury that really kind of, you could say it almost directly impacts the Bills' ability to run the ball, but you might not be able to, and I'll get into it in a second, is Cody Ford. He's out for the year with an injury he sustained in practice. It's unfortunate. We wish him the best, but, we're 2 years into Cody Ford. 2 years into a player the Bills traded up in the second round of draft. And part of me feels like I've heard this story before, but the other part of me feels like this could potentially be a bad draft pick that the Bills did make. How do you feel about Cody Ford to this point in regards to his production, in regards to how he's played given the various different positions and how he hasn't really had a cemented place to play throughout his time in Buffalo?
Yeah, sometimes it can be tough transitioning and, where they need you to play. And then you got to deal with injuries that comes along with that. So I thought he was picking up, playing that left guard, quite well. And then, you start suffering the injuries, So once you start suffering those injuries, that messes up chemistry, that messes up continuity. And now it sets you back, from everything, So, does it look like, we should have went another route? That pick should have been DK Metcalf. I know that's what everybody wants to say. That pick should have been DK Metcalf. We could have Ed Oliver and DK Metcalf. I ain't even going front. I had both of them on my mock drafts that particular year. So when we can get him, DK could slide to us potentially in the second round. They still can get him. It happened. Bills didn't put a trigger. They feel that they needed to shore up the offensive line and help out your franchise quarterback. I get it. So they went Cody Ford. Once you get Cody Ford healthy, he's a definitely mauler guy. He's definitely going to be missing the run game because that's his strong suit, being 6'4", 330. They finally got him over there on the left side with Dion, a guy that's really having a Pro Bowl season. So, you don't get that back in the chemistry that those guys had anyway. They already had an automatic bond, those two guys. So, yeah, it's unfortunate. Things happen in practice. And, he's out for the season. We wish him nothing but the best. And only thing now he can, possibly do is just get healthy and still try to get those mental reps, so he can pick back up in the swing of things when next season rolls around, so he don't miss a beat. So, the Bills are definitely going to need him to be completely healthy next year because if he's not, then, yeah, you got to start thinking about, looking elsewhere,
Well, we're entering year 3 of the Cody Ford, and it's pretty much put up or shut up.
Right.
And I feel like we were in a very similar position with Deion Dawkins just last year. And Deion Dawkins took that prove it year, proved it, ran with it, got an extension, and he's still continuing to prove it on a weekly basis, I feel like.
Right.
Now with Cody Ford, what was that?
One thing about Deion is he's durable. He's been healthy to make those improvements. Cody, he's wearing the Band-Aid right now on top of his name.
Yeah, that's really been a problem. Has been his durability, and people say he hasn't had much of an opportunity to get solidified at any certain position. Well, to be fair, he hasn't really looked good at any position. Daniel, I'm saying going into next year. I understand this is a second season. Going into next year really is a prove it year for Cody Ford, in my opinion, because you earned that contract in the third year. You do. Otherwise, you're on a prove it year. There's all sorts of uncertainty as to whether this production came from or this quality of play came from motivation to earn that payday or it was just a fluke season. So going into next year, that's definitely a prove it year now. And Cody Ford has not proven himself in the slightest at any single position. And they played him at three different ones. And wherever he's playing on this Bills offensive line, I can understand how we can look at 2019 and pretty much consider it a wash, considering they put him out there at playing tackle, just playing him out of position. But to be quite honest with you, I don't think any of them expected John Feliciano to be what he was, because he was signed at almost, I wouldn't say a vet minimum, but he was signed to $2 million to be a backup interior offensive lineman in Bobby Johnson's system. I wasn't expecting John Feliciano to come out there and be one of a starting offensive lineman for the Bills in 2019. That was not to my expectation, but that's what ended up happening. And Cody Ford ended up splitting snaps at right tackle, where it was fairly evident he was just not suited to play there, and he would be far better fit to play along the interior. And that I was of the belief as well. But I'm not going to say we haven't seen much better. He has definitely been a better player since being moved to guard, at whether it's left or right guard. He hasn't been what I've expected him to be, and he really hasn't had an overall game where I said, you know what, Cody Ford looked really good this game. But you touched on it as well. Injuries really have plagued him. But at the end of the day, for me, with these guys, it really comes down to, can you do it or can you not? Because we're in that situation where we're talking about a Bills offensive line that was damn good in 2019. Damn good. From left tackle to right guard, they were really good. And now you're talking about a year where they were trying to square peg a round hole with Cody Ford, trying to mix him on the front five somewhere, and they ended up pissing off Quentin Spain, and he got cut. So yeah, this situation kind of is murky. I think they mishandled the Quentin Spain situation due to the mishandling of the Cody Ford situation, just the favoritism of their guys that they brought into Buffalo and drafted to Buffalo. And Quentin Spain got a contract extension last offseason, and it turned into nothing, simply because they made a player upset when he was the best interior offensive lineman on the team, you could argue. I mean, he was up there with Mitch Morse. But that's the point, is wherever Cody Ford plays on this offensive line, he has played with solid players next to him. Whether it's left guard, right guard, he's playing with guys next to him. He's playing with Deion Dawkins and Mitch Morse, or Mitch Morse and Darrell Williams, who's found his all-pro level that he had a couple of years back. So Cody Ford has been playing next to solid offensive linemen wherever he goes on this Bills offensive line. And he's gone everywhere except left tackle and center. So I'm not hearing any of it. Next year is a prove-it year for Cody Ford, and I'm waiting to see it. And I'll come right back on whatever. I'll come right back on the Cold Front Report and admit when I'm wrong, just like I did when I said John Feliciano is what did I say? I said he's Bobby Johnson's Vlad Dukas. That's what I said, and I admitted I was wrong. I'll remember what I said. I'll remember saying that I think Cody Ford might be a bust, which I do. So time will tell, and we'll see. And the situation the Bills are in currently is they're going to have Mitch Moore starting at center. They're going to have John Feliciano somewhere along the interior. And we're either going to see Brian Winters or Ike Bacher in the mix at the other guard spot. It's going to be interesting to see, considering this is a week where both guys on your screen really feel like this is an opportunity to get this run game in check. With missing your wide receiver, having another starting offensive lineman back, it's going to be interesting. Now, Mook, do you have any bold predictions?
I came with my bold predictions with that 500, man. I'm telling you, man. I after seeing Josh put up 400 in 3 quarters, I know he got another 100 in him. And if it's any that type of deal, if he's ending the first quarter and throwing over 150 yards in a quarter, then it's going to be a problem. But I think the Bills do want to really start establishing a run game. We really didn't chime in on it. I mean, Coach McDermott said, early in the week that, they saw some things that could better the run game. So now is the time to see that. They definitely on the clock. We want to see what wrinkles and what new things they had devised to get this run game going, to help the passing game, So I would like to see a traditional 11 personnel. We haven't even gotten to some 11 personnel. Put the tight end where he belongs. That's right next to the damn tackle. And run some damn traditional 11 personnel, some 20 personnel. That's what I want to see. That right there is more of the balanced attack formations where, it keeps defense off balance because you don't know what I could do for them sets. I got 3 receivers, I got a tight end, I got a back. So my run action off zone and split and all that good stuff could work quite well if they use it correctly. Get your tight end involved. That's only going to help out your receivers. It's only going to help out the run game. That's certain things that you have to do. But, we see Croft one week, we won't hear from him the next couple of weeks. And, it's just some inconsistencies there on the offense. But this it's high powered and it's ready for a shootout at any given moment. That's for damn sure. So we just got to create some balance. And, hopefully, the Bills can answer the call tomorrow because that's what everybody's waiting to see. The Chargers know that they have a passing attack, so they're gonna lay off. So they got to do something with that run. Hopefully, Zach Moss and Singletary get going. So let's just say, bold prediction. Zach and Singletary go over 85 yards apiece.
Okay. All right. Wow, I wasn't really expecting that. I'm gonna say for a bold prediction, something about Sean McDermott touched on it in an interview this week, saying how Justin Herbert doesn't really get flustered, how he's not like these other young rookie quarterbacks who go out there, they look like a deer in a headlight. So I knowing Sean McDermott, knowing that mindset that he has, I feel like he and Leslie Frazier take that as a challenge. That he doesn't look flustered with the things these guys are throwing at him. And I think this is a week where having those two safeties back there, Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer, is going to pay dividends. Having all of your defensive backs in a game where you have, I don't remember a time this season the Bills had all their DBs healthy. I don't. Now they have every single one of them. Saran Neal, D. Marlowe, they have Teron Johnson. They have Levi Wallace and Josh Norman back for this game. It's going to be interesting to see what they can do with multiple exotic looks with a lot of defensive backs on the field. Because personally, I believe that's how you're going to defend this Chargers offense if they're going to be as pass happy as they are. Fernando touched on the 3 yards per carry earlier when he was on the show with this Chargers rushing attack. So I feel like they're a very one-dimensional team, and if you can force them to air the ball on you, I understand they're in their comfort zone. But when a young quarterback like Justin Herbert, who's not afraid to make mistakes, when a young quarterback's throwing the ball a lot in a game, he's bound to make them. So if I were to say a bold prediction for this game, I'm going to say the Bills are going to get 4 turnovers. They forced plenty turnovers in these last 2 games. That's one bright spot since the midway point of this season for the Bills defense, and really why we've been able to change the tone that we speak about them with is their ability to make plays when they need to these last 2 games. And I think this is going to be nothing's going to change this game. This defense is going to come out with a motivation, giving up that big play at the end of the Cardinals game. I don't think that's going to be weighing on their minds by any means, but I'm just saying this is a team that's hungry. They lost their last game knowing they shouldn't have lost that game. That's a tough pill to swallow. Right. And they had a bye week to sit there and let it sit in their stomach. This is going to be an exciting game for the Bills tomorrow. This is going to be a motivated team, and I'm really excited to see what they do and what tricks they pull out to play against Justin Herbert and the Chargers offense.
Right. Yeah, it's gonna be quite to see there. I try to ask those guys. I ask AJ. Some of the challenges this red hot quarterback faces, man, and once again, you get those Josh Allen comparisons. Tall guy, rocket arm, can beat you with his legs. So. The Bills definitely has a challenge up front. Is one in the trenches on both sides. So, Balaga's back. Trey Turner's back. We got everybody just about healthy up on our defensive end. So, Deron Lee will be out there tomorrow. So, I want to see how aggressive the Bills defense is going to be. You cannot sit back and let a rookie quarterback pick you apart. You got to play aggressive. You got to hit him with the Russell Wilson kit. If you don't hit him with the Russell Wilson kit, he could potentially throw for 300-400 himself, especially, with these tall receivers. And we already know our guys got Moss for the game winner 2 weeks ago. Newt Hopkins only 6'1". You know what I mean? Keenan Allen 6'2", 6'3". You got Mike Williams 6'4". So the Bills is going to have some challenges out there in the air, but air traffic control will be up for the challenge.
What's your score? What are you saying?
I'm going to say 27-23. It's going to be a baby shootout. It's going to be a baby shootout. It's going to start off good, then it's going to have some back and forth moments, some 3 and outs. And then towards the end, it get heated up, kind of like that Arizona game, But Bills need to establish some type of run game. That's the biggest elephant in the room. So I'm quite sure they're going to really come out and really try to, establish some sort of run right off the rep. I just hope they don't overdo it. You know what I mean? They'll overdo it, and then they keep running the same play. If the play work, and they keep running the shit. Like, hold on, just save it, or where's the setup play? Where's the play? I want to see that. Like, what are you setting up in the run game? Is the run game effective enough? How does that help your pass game? Let's not just be play action, and we ain't got no run game, you know what I mean, off of that. So
every single Chargers game this year has been decided within 10 points. So I think it'd just be simply uneducated and not predict a game that's decided within 10 points, because they found a way to stick in every game this year. And the Bills, you know, the Bills, when they play these teams that are really on the fence of being quality and not quality at all, they really play to their competition, it feels like. And I understand that's kind of lazy analysis right there, but I'm sticking with the prediction that I had on the Overtime podcast. I'm going to say the Bills are going to win this one 34-26. I feel like you do. I think both teams are going to get their points, get their yards. They're also going to have their mistakes. And both defenses, you know, these are two defenses that are athletic, that are opportune with other teams' mistakes. So I'm looking forward to seeing how how this game shakes out. It's going to be a very enticing, entertaining, exciting matchup. And, you know, it's all I've been looking forward to for 2 weeks now. It's really weird in those bye weeks when there's no football for the Bills in a week, and I'm just flipping through channels on Sunday. It's relaxing a little bit, but it's just different. It's definitely different.
It was definitely different. No excitement to it. That's like, okay, I'm just.
There's no skin in it.
I'm just going through the motions and watching Dallas, and that was just horrible. You know what I mean?
I don't even want to talk about the Thanksgiving games.
Yeah, ratings was down when the Bills don't play. Prime time now, baby. You see all the games on prime time now, so we ain't got to worry about that now.
Well, Mookie, it's getting late. We got to get out of here. There's a game to watch tomorrow at 1 p.m. Tell the people where they can find you and what they have to look forward to when they do.
Oh, man, you can check me out on Waffle Sports, man. You know, we have our radio show at Power 96.5 every Sunday at 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. You tune in. You get to hear exclusive interviews with me, interviewing the coaches and players after the game, post-game, pre-game. Check me up on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Waffle Sports, Mookie Hawkins, Bills Beat on Facebook.
Yeah, and be sure to follow the Cold Front Report on Twitter at Cold Front Report. Follow us on Instagram at Cold Front Report _Bills News, and then our Facebook page as well, Cold Front Report Buffalo Bills News. And subscribe on YouTube. That'll be Cold Front Report. And be sure to check out our brand new state-of-the-art webpage over there on coldfrontreport.com with plenty of talented bloggers and writers, John Sparacco, Brandon Koch and company. And you know, we have plenty of content coming out on our webpage, which is just brand new, state-of-the-art, presented by Avalon Media. Definitely love what they did there, and definitely stay plugged into what we have going on over there. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Mookie, it's been fun as always. Looking forward to next week's show. You know, these Saturday tailgates, it's fun. We just sit here and talk about it. Just sit here. It's not complicated. There's no intricate things. It's just you pull somebody on who's always insightful from the opposing team's media crew, and I always appreciate that. I always appreciate their time because I always learn something new, and it's definitely always a ton of fun. And we'll see you all probably on Sunday next week, but we'll definitely see you next week in preparation for the 49ers game. So stay ahead.
I don't. Where the hell are they gonna play at? They just shut down Santa Clara County, so
I don't know.
Go to LA to play that game.
Maybe they'll go to San Diego for old time's sakes.
Right. They gotta have to do that though, man. But you know, we gotta keep it exclusive, Clay. You know what I mean? That's all the Saturday night tailgate is, man. Exclusive. We're gonna keep it exclusive now.
Absolutely. I hope everybody enjoys their evening. Enjoy the game. Stay safe. Stay healthy, and go Bills.